One of the biggest mistakes people make when they start farming is they try to plant everything at once. This leads to trying to sell everything at once, and then you have months of no harvests and no cash flow. And this makes it incredibly hard to be successful as a part-time farmer because you either burn out at the peak of the growing season or you end up with tons of extra food that ends up rotting because you don't have a market to sell it. This one idea took me from feast or famine to consistent, predictable success year-round, and it'll allow you to farm part-time. Stick around till the end of this video and I'll share with you my trick that has taken my farm from struggling plot to successful small business where I work less than 40 hours a week. I'm Zach Buchel and I'm a year-round veggie farmer in Cody, Wyoming, and we've harvested over $85,000 worth of veggies on this half-acre plot of land while I'm only working less than 40 hours a week. And if you want to earn money from your land, you should totally hit that subscribe button over here because I post new videos every week about how to grow and sell veggies on very tiny acreage. So if I had to pick the #1 key to my success as a farmer, it would be the assembly line of food concept. And basically what this means is you are keeping every square foot of your growing space planted throughout your entire growing season. So most gardeners and farmers will plant their entire plot in the spring and then they just stop planting at a certain point shortly after that. With this, you are planting food every single week of your season, whether that means starting in your nursery where you start plants indoors or direct seeding in the ground to something that's gonna grow quick, or you have a push seeder to be able to plant that plot with seeds. So you're constantly planting food every single week of your growing season. On my farm, we plant food every single week starting in February all the way through October. And we are in Wyoming where we only have 4 months of frost-free growing season. So that's pretty intense, but it works. And what this does is this allows us to have flexibility in our schedule to be able to take time off in the peak of the growing season if we want to, because this breaks up the entire workload of our farm into tiny weekly bite-sized pieces. So that means harvesting, washing and packing, seeding, weeding and cultivating. All of that follows that weekly planting that we are doing into tiny bite-sized pieces. So we're not doing all of the work at once. And this gives us the flexibility in our schedules to be able to basically have a life and also consistent cash flow throughout the entire season. So we don't have huge months of time where we're not making any money at all. So it's about constant little amounts of food spread out over a much wider time horizon than just planting it all at once and harvesting it all at once, which is really stressful and really difficult to manage if you have another job or you have something else going on in your life. So the way we do this on our farm is starting in February, we're starting a really diverse amount of seeds every week according to a planting schedule that counts the number of weeks before our average last frost, which is pretty standard. That's what most gardeners and farmers are doing. And we'll either start them in our nursery in plant flats like this, or we'll direct seed in the ground if the weather allows. And all of these crops are going to be maturing at different times throughout the season, so they're not going to be all ready at once. That's the whole point of the diversity part. So we're growing things like basil, lettuce, tomatoes, and celery, all those kinds of things we're starting now in February, but they're all going to mature at different times throughout our growing season. So again, the workload is being broken up into tiny bite-sized pieces every single week starting in February. So the way we stay organized with this in terms of planting something every single week is we use an annual planting schedule that we've customized to our climate here in Cody, Wyoming. So basically that's just a list of every single crop that we plant and when to start planting it according to our average last frost date. So each week we'll just go to that list, check what dates it is today, and then what dates are safe to start planting whatever crops are available on that list. And by March, pretty much everything is safe to plant, so we'll just make decisions on how much of that certain crop we're gonna plant at that time. But we just continue this weekly ritual every single week all the way until October. And at the end of our annual planting schedule, we have an end date of when we can have to stop planting that certain crop to have it mature in our season. So that's why we call it an annual planting schedule. The beginning of the list is according to our average last frost date, which is in the spring. And then the end of it is according to our average first frost date, which is in the fall. So each date is a certain amount of weeks before the frost dates. And that gives you a planting window of when you could start and when you have to stop planting every single crop. So we just check that list every single week through October. And this gives us flexibility in our schedules to be able to take time off whenever we need to, because we've broken that work up for the entire year into tiny weekly pieces. So we're only spending an average of 1 to 4 hours a week seeding crops, as opposed to some places where they'll spend a whole week seeding crops. So we don't have to do it all at once. We just break it up into tiny bite-sized pieces every single week. And then throughout the growing season, as each crop matures, which should be happening at different times because we've staggered it that way, we will harvest that crop entirely, and then that gives us an opportunity to plant a second crop. So right behind me is a perfect example of this. So we had our winter carrots in these 6 beds underneath the frost covers only a couple weeks ago, and we've been harvesting them slowly but surely over the winter. But we've got a really warm February right now, so I took that opportunity to start planting some quick spring crops because I see the next 2 weeks is looking very promising, and I know from experience that we're pretty likely to be able to get a decent harvest from everything we've planted here. So these beds were just empty a week ago because we had just harvested the carrots, and then we re-amended to some more 3-2-3 fertilizer or compost. And you could do the same thing with whatever you have on hand to give the soil some more fertility, and then you can immediately replant it to something else. And this is how we keep that constant flow of food going throughout our entire season. So you're either, whenever you have an open bed, you're either direct seeding that right away to something, or you are transplanting something you previously started in your nursery. So you constantly have new food started and growing in your growing space. And you basically just rinse and repeat this process as long as your growing season allows. So in my climate, we're able to average about 2 to 3 successions of crops per square foot on every part of the farm because our growing season is fairly short, so we don't have as much opportunity to keep planting. But if you live in the south, zones 7 and up to 10, you should easily be able to grow 4 to 6 successions of crops on your property with this technique. So you have a constant flow of food. You should easily be able to have crops through your winter, because I do it in Wyoming in greenhouses, in under layers of frost cover, and we are actually able to harvest things fresh through our winter, but it's risky. There's a lot of things that do go wrong because we do get really cold temperatures. We get down to -20 Fahrenheit almost every winter. This winter particularly was phenomenally warm, and we had great success with the winter growing. But in the southern climates, it's much easier. You probably rarely get below 25 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's much easier for you to do this kind of stuff that we do in our farm without any greenhouses or fancy infrastructure. So the rinse and repeat constant planting of this system is a lot more powerful in a warmer climate than it is for me. But this is why it's called the assembly line of food, because every square foot is an assembly line of food throughout your entire growing season. You plant, harvest, remove crop residue, replant, and rinse and repeat again and again and again as much as you possibly can, and that's where the real magic happens. And if you have some land sitting around not bringing you any value and you'd like to start a farm on it and build a business, I have a complete seed to sale video course and mentoring program that helps people start a micro profitable farm on their property. We go over no dig farm layout, succession crop planning, irrigation setup, sales and marketing, plant propagation, and everything in between to make your farm profitable your first year. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, you can apply for a strategy session with me at the link below. Worst case scenario is we have a really nice conversation and I send you with some free resources that are gonna help you at whatever stage of the journey that you're currently on. So if you wanna start a farm, but you don't have 40 hours a week to be able to devote to farming, this system and strategy is the key to you building momentum with what little time and energy you have. So I would recommend starting with no bigger than 1/4 acre, because above and beyond that in 20 hours a week is really, really difficult. So if your budget and time commitment is even less than 20 hours a week, then start smaller. You can start learning these skills on as little as 1,000 square feet. You could start learning them in your current garden. It really doesn't matter how big of a size you start with. What matters is that you continue to plant and learn the strategy of the assembly line of food. And so what you'll do is you'll take whatever plot of land you have available and you'll start to seed crops in your nursery according to your average last frost date and your annual planting schedule in the spring. Start doing that every single week as your nursery space allows. And then in the spring, once it's warm enough to actually transplant those outside, you're gonna go ahead and transplant them like you would any normal garden. And then whatever space you have left, direct seed to crops like radishes, carrots, lettuce mix, arugula, turnips. Plant whatever space you have left into direct seeded crops and irrigate with a sprinkler ideally. I would also recommend you plant with a Jang JP1 push seeder or an Earthway push seeder because it's way faster. These spinach beds were planted with that, so we planted these 3 beds in about 5 minutes. That's gonna save you a ton of time right off the bat. And then as you harvest those crops, as they mature throughout the season, you're gonna immediately replant to another crop, just like I said. So for example, if you were going to plant radishes in this bed after this kale, what you would do is you would twist the kale out at the base. I'm not gonna literally do it right now because I want this kale for a couple more weeks, but you twist it out and then there's just a stump and that gives you room to plant your next crop. And you'll either amend it with more compost if you need to, or whatever fertilizer you're using, and then you replant. You might wanna rake it a little bit to get you some soil tilth, and then you can immediately replant to another crop according to your annual planting schedule. And that's the general idea. You just keep doing that throughout your entire growing season. You don't just stop after Memorial Day. You're doing this in July, August, September, and maybe even October, depending on where you live. So that's the real key here, is just that constant planting. So start small as you can afford, and continue to plant. And so if you want to create your own annual planting schedule that's customized to your climate, grab my free Backyard Farm Launchpad at the link below. It includes a list of my favorite top high profit crops and what revenue you're likely to get on a certain square footage. It includes an annual planting schedule that you can customize to your climate, a no-dig farm setup step-by-step guide, and a 1/4 acre farm plot map that is basically a roadmap to making your first $20,000 of revenue on your land. So if that sounds interesting, grab that at the link in the description below. So what I just described is what's called bed flipping on any market farm. So you're basically flipping the bed from the previous crop to another crop in the same space. And you really don't need to worry too much about companion planting. In my experience, we've been doing this for 5 years with this level of crop diversity, and I've never had a problem or paid attention to the concept of companion planting. I think that overcomplicates the whole process, and you're planting enough diversity here to where the benefits of companion planting are kind of happening organically. Like even in this greenhouse, you see we've got kale here, lettuce here, green onions here, spinach here. There's 5 crops within, 15 feet. And so that's giving you enough crop diversity to confuse pests and all of the benefits of companion planting. So I wouldn't worry too much about the concept of companion planting. Just focus on, a diverse group of crops, somewhere between 10 and 20, and you're gonna automatically get those benefits. And so what this process does is it automatically breaks up the entire workload of a farming season into tiny, bite-sized weekly pieces. So every time you're succession planting something new, it follows that you're going to be cultivating that crop, harvesting that crop, washing that crop, and selling that crop. But you're doing it in succession because you're doing little bite-sized pieces every single week. So all of those tasks happen in little bite-sized pieces throughout the week. So for example, we spend maybe 2-3 hours a week cultivating every single week to stay on top of weeds. We spend 4 to 5 hours selling every week at a farmer's market instead of, trying to focus it all at one place at one time during the season. So all of that farm workload gets broken up into tiny bite-sized pieces. And probably the biggest benefit for this in starting a farm is that you don't have to worry about finding a big market to sell all your stuff at once. You can find one tiny small group of core customers to try and sell to as close to 52 weeks a year as possible. Because remember, people eat food 3 times a day, 52 weeks a year. So the more you're able to sell to that one gung-ho customer as close to 52 weeks a year as possible, the less you're gonna have to stress about actually making money from all of this. So this makes this system a lot more adaptable to many different markets. I live in Cody, Wyoming. We have 10,000 people in my town. It's a very small market. It's very tough to make this kind of business work, but it does work because we're selling to the same customers literally 52 weeks a year. So I probably have 50 gung-ho customers that come to my booth every single week, and we're able to make money from them every single week instead of just 3 months a year because of this system. So it's a lot easier on your schedule to break the work up into bite-sized pieces, and it gives you constant cash flow for your business, and you're not just having 3 to 6 months of time where you have no money coming in from your business. So it makes it easy for you to do this part-time. It makes it easier for your business to run, and ultimately it's a lot more peaceful way of farming than just the traditional way of planting in spring, harvesting in summer, and then taking the winter off. It's like a roller coaster of emotions, and much more likely you're gonna burn out in that system than this system. So when you do this right, you should easily be able to earn $20,000 your first year on a 1/4 acre. And if you set up your farm in no dig style with sprinklers throughout the entire farm, and you plant in grid spacing so it's easy to cultivate in between the rows, you should easily be able to accomplish that in 20 hours a week of work or less. And if you're doing less space, it should be less time, basically, because all of these things, when you plan them out the right way and you have the right system, are very efficient on a small scale. So this makes it so you don't have to work your ass off in July and stress about making money on a farm, or make all of your money in 2 to 3 months, because this system forces you to make the money in a much wider time horizon. So you should be making money from your land at least 6 months a year, and ideally year round, if you're in a climate that allows that. So this is ultimately a much more peaceful way to farm, and makes it so you're not stressing half of the year and then you're basically doing nothing the other half of the year. And that $20,000 a year number is really just as a beginner. The long-term potential of this is much higher. There are farms that earn over $100,000 on a 1/4 acre. So your potential for long-term revenue growth is very high with this as your skills increase and your market increases. So the long-term potential of this is way higher than just 20 grand. But the real way to start this and build momentum is for you to start farming and learning the skills, because you can't learn the skills by just watching videos like this. You have to do it. And you can do it on a really small scale in your backyard. You could do it in a raised bed. You could actually learn the skills to do this on a raised bed. So it's really just the system of continuous planting that's gonna make you successful on any market farm. And if you're wondering where I got that $20,000 a year on a 1/4 acre number, watch this video where I give you a complete breakdown of how you can turn your 1/4 acre into $20,000 your first year. I go over the crops that you can plant, how you can lay it out, and basically a complete step-by-step startup process for how you can make that happen. So if you're interested in that, watch this. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.